And amid the coronavirus pandemic, many people are, of course, working remotely, but others, essential employees, they don't have that option. So we're curious, what kind of rights to accommodation do employees really even have right now? Well, here to break it all down for us is employment attorney and founder of the Reddock Law Group. This is Angela Reddock-Wright. Thank you so much for being here on a Sunday. So do essential workers have any rights to accommodations during this pandemic?
Yes, they do. Although essential, that does not do away with their right to work in a safe environment and to feel protected in the event that they contract COVID-19 or feel exposed to it. And so they have a right to ask their employer either for time off if they've actually contracted COVID-19, or if they feel exposed to it, to request some type of accommodation to make sure that that exposure is limited. So just because they're essential doesn't mean they lose their employment rights.
And Angela, today actually marks the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. That ensures that people with disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else. But I'm curious about how the pandemic might have shifted that law or the way that the law is applied. I mean, for example, maybe someone with asthma didn't interfere with their jobs before COVID-19, but now they're at greater risk because of the pandemic. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, well, kudos to the 30-year anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And the fact that COVID-19 and the pandemic exists now does not do away with that act. In fact, it makes it more relevant, because if an individual, such as an individual with asthma, possibly has the ability to be exposed even more so or compromised even more so than the average employee or an employee without a disability or a medical condition, the ADA still requires employers to engage in the interactive process to understand what reasonable accommodation that or other employees may need, and whether, based on their condition, they can actually be accommodated. So the ADA becomes even more important. And in California, we have additionally the Fair Employment and Housing Act, which protects individuals with disabilities. So these acts together in this legislation becomes even more important and relevant in these pandemic times.
And that's so interesting. I mean, just real quick, what's the number one takeaway that you think employees should know right now as they're, weighing this risk to either, going to work versus, the risks to their health of catching a potentially deadly virus?
Right. I think the biggest takeaway is employees first have to make sure that they are healthy and that they're able to return to work. If they are not healthy or they feel compromised in any way, it's really important to speak to the employer and to see what rights you have, not only in the law, but also under your employer's policies. Many employers right now are working diligently to try to make sure they create safe work environments for their employees. So don't be afraid to talk to your employer. I know many feel fear of retaliation and fear that they may lose their jobs if they speak up, but it's important to speak up, because not only are you compromising yourself, but you could be compromising others in the workplace. And it's important that we all do our part, employees and employers alike, to stop the spread of this pandemic and the spread of COVID-19.
Right, we're all in this together. Well, thank you so much. This is employment attorney Angela Reddock-Wright. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.